Hey friends, I'm AnnMarie. Welcome to The Sauce. I'm Gen X Italian American with strong opinions, a questionable relationship with iced coffee, and absolutely no interest in pretending I've got life all figured out. This is where we talk about life, reinvention, getting older, starting over, and all of the weird, wonderful, messy things that happen in between. So grab your coffee or your emotional beverage of choice, settle in, and let's get into it. I wanted to do some version of this since I was a little girl. Not TikTok, not social media, not content creation, none of that existed. I'm talking about a talk show and real honest to goodness talk show. Now, before anybody gets carried away, let's be clear. I was not sitting in some fancy studio. I was a kid with my friends and a portable cassette recorder. If you're under 40 and you have no idea what that is, first of all, rude. Second of all, it was basically how we recorded things before technology decided to put an entire production studio inside our phones. We would sit around pretending we had a show, interviewing each other, making up stories, asking questions, talking about absolutely nothing. Which, come to think of it, was an excellent preparation for podcasting. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved hearing the playback. I loved asking questions. I loved telling stories. I loved making people laugh. And somewhere in my little kid brain, I thought, this is what I want to do. Now, I had absolutely no plan for how that would happen. I was not exactly being courted by major networks from my 10-year-old bedroom, but the dream was there. And that's the thing about dreams. When you're a kid, they seem completely reasonable. You don't spend a lot of time explaining yourself, why they won't work. Kids are amazing like that. A little girl can decide she's going to host a talk show, become a movie star, own a horse, live in a castle by the ocean, all before lunch. And then adulthood shows up. And adulthood, she has notes. Life happened, school happened, jobs happened, bills happened, responsibilities happened, relationships happened. And before I knew it, I was doing what a lot of people do. I was being practical. Now, don't get me wrong. Being practical isn't a bad thing. Practical pays the mortgage. Practical keeps the lights on. Practical keeps food on the table. But practical can also slowly convince you that the things you wanted when you were younger were unrealistic or silly or selfish or impossible. And one day you'll wake up and realize you haven't thought about that dream in years. Not because you stopped wanting it, because you got busy surviving. And I think that's what happens to a lot of us. We don't quit on our dreams. We just keep hitting snooze for 20 years. But I spent most of my professional life working in recruiting and human resources, and I genuinely love helping people. I love helping people find opportunities. I love helping people see potential in themselves. I love encouraging people. The irony, of course, is that I was often much better at seeing potential in other people than I was at seeing it in myself. Anybody else? Just me? Okay, cool. I could look at a complete stranger and tell them exactly why they should go after something. Meanwhile, I would talk myself out of things before I even started. And that, my friends, takes talent. Negative talent, but talent still. I think a lot of us do that. We become the cheerleader for everybody else's dreams while we quietly sit on our own. And then came 2020. Now, listen, I'm pretty sure 2020 deserves its own chapter in human history. One day, we're all living our lives. The next day, we're baking bread and arguing with strangers on the internet. Now, like a million other people, I downloaded TikTok. My intention was simple. I was going to see what all the fuss was about, maybe watch a few videos, relax, keep up with the times. You know where this is going. 6 hours later, I knew how to make whipped coffee, had strong opinions about people I'd never met, and somehow felt emotionally invested in creators that lived like 3,000 miles away. I became what I like to call a professional engager. I watched everybody. I supported everybody, but I wasn't creating. I was cheering everyone on, and it wasn't because I didn't want to create. I mean, I wanted to. I just didn't think I could. Yeah, fear is sneaky. Fear rarely says, don't do it. Fear says, maybe next week. Fear says, let's wait until we're a little more confident. Fear says, well, what if people judge you? Or what if you look ridiculous? And before you know it, years have passed. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that confidence doesn't come first. I spent years waiting for that bitch. I thought it was coming in the mail. I thought maybe Amazon was bringing it. I thought it would come in some kind of sparkly package, maybe dropped from a drone. I don't know. But it never happened. But you know what did happen? I got tired. I got tired of waiting. I got tired of watching. I got tired of talking myself out of things. And eventually, I decided I'd rather be uncomfortable than curious about what might have happened. That changed everything. Now, somewhere in the middle of all this, life did what life does. It broke my heart severely. I lost my mother in 2009. And if you've ever lost your person, you understand. My mother wasn't just my mother. She was my best friend. She was funny, quick-witted, sharp. She was the kind of woman that could make you laugh and put you in your place all in the same sentence. And honestly, some of my sense of humor, probably most of it, came directly from her. And a little bit probably from surviving the rest of my family. When she died, I lost my footing for a long time. Grief has a funny way of changing your priorities. It strips away the nonsense and it reminds you how precious time actually is. Years later, I lost my dad, a man who came to this country chasing the American dream and worked hard every day of his life. This was a man who taught resilience without even knowing what resilience meant. And somewhere between those losses, those lessons, and those years of rebuilding, I started to understand something. Life is short. Painfully short. And tomorrow is not guaranteed. So here I am, 55 years old, sitting in front of a microphone, recording a podcast. And the funny thing is, I thought I was starting over. It turns out I was finding my way back. Back to the little girl with the cassette recorder. Back to the dream I packed away. Back to the version of myself that always wanted to tell stories, make people laugh, and make people feel a little less alone. That dream never died. It just waited patiently for me to come back and get it. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe there's something you've packed away too. A dream, a goal, an idea, a version of yourself. Maybe life got busy. Maybe life got hard. Maybe you convinced yourself it was too late. I get it. But there's one thing I know for sure. It's this. Your dreams don't expire because you had a birthday. You're not too old. And definitely not too late. And your story is far from over. Not even close. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for taking a chance on episode 1. And thank you for being here at the beginning. Because after all these years, this little girl with the cassette recorder finally got her talk show. And honestly, I think my mother would have gotten a kick out of that. See you next week.